I want to talk today about book places. Well, book places come in a variety of manifestations. The two most popular are libraries and bookstores, and unfortunately, both are in decline. Last year, Borders folded, closing 800 stores and removing millions of books from our communities. We now have less than half the number of independents that we did just 2 decades ago. Almost every day we hear about libraries cutting staff, hours, or holdings, and many libraries have chosen to remove books to make room for computers. Book places are clearly under attack, as any marketing or sales manager in this room can attest. Stacks are being converted to computer kiosks or Nook demonstration counters. And last year, just before Christmas, Amazon paid their customers to go into stores to check prices against Amazon and report back. The practice coined the term showrooming, referring to shoppers who use real stores to inspect items before purchasing them online. But this got me thinking, maybe if we can't beat them, we should join them. I also started to think about things bookstores and libraries had in common, and if there were ways to combine them. I started to imagine a model book place that was a little of both, and that treated the book on the shelf as more than only a product. And then I tried to imagine what that would look like structurally. It would need a commitment from the community, which is why a member-based co-op might be best. It would also need access to a catalog the size of Amazon's, which reminded me of this, the Espresso book machine. With over 7 million titles in its catalog, an EBM can print and bind any one of them in about 5 minutes. Now, to better understand this new model, it's useful to think of it from 3 perspectives: the customers, the booksellers, and the publishers. First, the customer. The customer walks into what looks like a normal bookstore, though one with a bookmaking machine next to the register. But the first significant difference is evident when they pull a book from the shelf and they see this. It's available new, shipped from the publisher or printed on the EBM, or they can buy that used display copy. They can also borrow the book, free if they're a member, or they can buy a DRM-free ebook, if they're a member. The bookseller sees this, which is notable for what's missing, an invoice. This program would need to be a consignment arrangement for a couple of reasons. Both consignment and co-ops are exempt from Robinson-Patman, and because a member-based co-op won't have startup capital for inventory. Finally, here's what we publishers see: income. Not just from sales from the books in that box, but from 5 different sources: the used display copies, new copies, POD copies, rental income, and ebooks. Now, I'm one of you, so I already know your concerns, and I can allay them with one simple word. You might ask, why should I trust this newfangled account type? Well, how many Kindle editions did you sell last year? How do you know that? You're already trusting a bookseller, an online bookseller, and one that is openly hostile towards you. The other instance where you're going to need to trust is that DRM-free ebook. Even in these incredibly tight times, I would ask you all to consider your mission. We should be in the lead on this. If you hate channel lock as much as I do, don't be afraid of trying. The structure of this new kind of book place might also be a reason to go DRM-free. The people you would be selling those files to have a stake in the store. If they misuse the files, they're hurting their own store, compromising their investment, injuring their community. When I ask people this related question, it's always answered the exact same way. If your library sold books to support itself and offered everything available on Amazon, where would you buy your books? What I'm proposing is likely to engender the same kind of loyalty. So if the line between bookstores and libraries began to fade, and lookstores started lending books, how might that impact revenues? Well, first, you could be making money when your book was lent, and unless you're an Australian publisher, this would be new revenue for you. And, yes, you did provide that lending copy on consignment. But has a library ever paid you for anything after that first sale? This one will. Every time that copy prompts a transaction. And you get to choose which books go into this particular library. There's one more reason to consider this model. It could end returns. Since nothing is purchased on speculation, returns may not be necessary. A book stays in a lookstore until it sells, at which point the publisher can then choose if they want to send another copy or a new title. But perhaps my favorite feature of this model is how green it is. No returns, books printed where the customer is, so little or no shipping, and ebooks. Think of the trees and the miles that could be saved, and all those smirking boxes that might be avoided. So if we want to avoid this, we as publishers need to experiment. We need to take risks, and we need to work with stores and libraries that want to experiment. We need to be proactive in determining our own future. As long as there are readers, neither bookstores nor libraries need to close. By combining the best of both worlds, it's possible to create an institution that both promotes book ownership while providing access to content in whatever form the customer, member, patron, reader desires. Thank you.